Hey, so I just literally got back from seeing the new film Freaky, and so I'm pretty thrilled to be talking about it because this is the first film that I've seen in cinemas since I saw one in like June or something when cinemas opened up very briefly for a very a very small little opportune moment where I saw The Way Back with Ben Affleck. But before that, the last movie that I saw was in like March or February. I know I'm not the only one, a lot of people are in this case. But cinemas have finally opened back up where I am, and I rushed the fuck out to go see something. And it happened to just be like perfect timing where something that seemed like it was made specifically for me, like this movie is like so up my alley. Like this movie it's very much a thing that I would like, and so yep, I wanted to talk about it. Okay, so if you don't know, Freaky is directed by Christopher Landon, the dude who directed a few favorites of mine in the Happy Death Day movies. Absolutely love this guy. He is really proving to do really great when it comes to these kind of gimmicky, high concept ideas within the comedy horror genre, which is just something that I absolutely love. I'd love to see more of this kind of stuff. In Happy Death Day, it's like a Groundhog Day time travel thing. And in Freaky, it's a Freaky Friday body swap type of situation. You know the movie Freaky Friday with Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis? It's basically that, but instead it's Vince Vaughn and he is a serial killer, basically on the level of like a Jason Voorhees type. You know, is a big, strong, kind of silent killer. And with that being said, oh my god, this movie is so damn cool. It's so much fun. Look, one thing that I'll say about this, if you're not into the genre, you're probably not going to like it. It's predictable as hell. You know, it's got kind of cliches, but really, generally, this is just a pretty... It's just a fun film for people that are gonna like this movie. You know, for the people that are gonna like it, like me, it's damn good. When it comes to like the kills, if you're into that kind of thing, like if you're into the horror slasher, you know, that sort of thing, like it's pretty cool. It definitely holds up in being a lot more violent than I was actually expecting, because when it comes to particularly Blumhouse and all that kind of stuff, like the popular horror movies of today typically aren't that violent. You know, there's a lot of cutaways, there's a lot of self-censorship and that kind of thing. But with this, like some of the kills were brutal as hell. And like there's this one part, I don't want to say too much, but it involves a saw, and man, it's if you're into that kind of thing, it will definitely please you. Yeah, I thought it was cool. But there were a few where it was kind of like it did feel like it cut away, but like it just added to the atmosphere. This thing is fun. It wasn't trying to be too gross or too serious. It wasn't trying to scare you, really. This is a horror movie, technically in the subgenre of horror, but it's not scary and it's not trying to be. This is a fun movie. So yeah, anyway, this movie is, like I said, it's like a body swap thing, and it's basically a bunch of excuses for Vince Vaughn to basically act like he's a teenage girl and scream at things and be scared. And I was kind of into that idea because I'm kind of a big fan of Vince Vaughn, weirdly. Like, I feel like he doesn't have quite a big as a fan base as I think that he maybe deserves. I think he's a super charming guy. I think he's really funny in his movies. There's something about him. I just like the dude, alright? Anyway, yeah, this movie really gave him a chance to basically do what Jack Black does in the Jumanji movies, is pretty much he's just acting like a teenage girl. You know, everything's turned on its head, things are a bit funny, people aren't acting like they stereotypically would be. And with that, I think it's really fun. I think some of the jokes are kind of cheap shots. I think they're easy jokes to make, but I also think that they kind of work. You know, Vince Vaughn just screaming at a thing because inside his teenage girl and he's scared of a thing. It's just inherently a funny situation. It's just good. It's good stuff. I don't know. I know that it's not the most intellectually superior type of comedy that you've ever seen in your life, but for me, it did the job. It works as a comedy, it works as a horror, it definitely works as a horror comedy, and I don't know, I think it's super great. I really, really want to see Christopher Landon, the director, go on to do more gimmicky horror comedies like this. Like, if you've ever seen the movie Wishmaster, I really want him to remake or do something similar to that movie Wishmaster, which is a movie about, basically, if you've seen the Simpsons episode where they get the monkey paw and they make wishes, but then the wishes go wrong. It's basically that, but way sillier and, well, maybe not sillier than the Simpsons episode, but horror version. Anyway, this video is not about fucking Wishmaster. Let's get back to Freaky, shall we? With that being said, so really, this movie really relies on the actors. Like I said, I think Vince Vaughn does really good at acting like he stereotypically wouldn't be and all that kind of thing. I think that works, but then it really relies on also this actor, Catherine Newton, who plays the now serial killer Vince Vaughn's soul inside her version of the character, who is perceived to be in high school in the body that she's in. Does that make any sense? That's a confusing as hell sentence. But with that being said, I thought that she did awesomely as well. Like, I really like how she acted as the guy acting like the girl, and like she was doing a shit job of acting like he was acting. You can see how this gets confusing, right? The actor was acting like the killer guy inside the girl's body was being a bad actor at acting like the girl. Did that make sense? Who knows? I think you get what I mean. One thing that I really have to also include in this review is I felt like this was really short. Like, it really ran through quite quickly, and I wasn't quite ready for it to end just yet. I could have done with another 20 minutes, half hour or so. Now, this is an hour 40 minutes, but like, it felt short to me. It felt like we could have spent a bit more time with these characters. We could have been doing a bit more of the comedy and stuff, because that's one thing that I will say about this movie, in that it's very, for a silly movie, it's also very plot heavy, and I feel like sometimes the plot got in the way of just some fun that they could have had, some silly jokes and that kind of thing. I feel like this is the type of movie where they had a bunch of ideas, and there's probably a lot of good like deleted scenes and all that kind of stuff, but the movie just didn't really have time to do everything that it wanted to do, because it kept having to move things along, and it kept having to, you know, get to the point. And in that way, I felt like it kind of, it felt a bit held back, because it had to be epic by the end. It had to have like this heavy climax and all this kind of stuff, but I feel like it could have been a little bit more silly. I wouldn't have minded watching Vince Vaughn scream like a girl a few more times, you know what I'm saying? But that's not really a flaw. It's not really a fair complaint. Really, all I'm saying is that I wish this was a 2.5 hour movie and we just got to see more silly stuff. And maybe that's not really that great a complaint. You know what I mean? I mean, it's funny, it's fun, it moves things along, it's got, you know, a good plot. It's not the most it is creative. It's not the most original plot ever, you know, it's Freaky Friday, but a horror version of it. But it does get the message across with everything that it's doing. It is creative with what it does with this premise, and it really delivers on this premise as well. I thought it was great. I loved it. If you think you'll be into this kind of thing, I can pretty much guarantee that you will be, because you know exactly what this is. And yeah, that's all. Just a quick one right here. Didn't want to go on and on about it, even though this still went longer than I was expecting it to go. And anyway, that's all. Do the things. You know what the things are. Like, comment, share, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. And see you next time.